These are the adventures of a temporarily out-of-work wife and mother. And if you watch my home improvement project of my master bathroom and my hallway/kids bathroom, then you already know that I did the dang on thing, right? But I did want to put together compilations of just specifics of the project. So I originally posted each day's work. So this video is the installation video of all of the rods and hooks and over the storage cabinet, etc. So to actually do the installations, I had to remove what was there, remove the wall anchors, and if I wasn't putting the new one in the same exact space, I also puttied the holes, painted the walls, and then came back and did the actual installation. I replaced all of the ones that were silver and white with just silver, and I chose ones that were a little more modern. For the master bathroom, I used the following rods and hooks from the Amazon and a more decorative hook that I got from the Family Dollar. I also replaced all of the light fixture covers as well as the outlet covers, and I replaced one of the outlets as well. Since so much of the things that we plug in use USB and the little blocks, I wanted to upgrade the outlets, at least one in each of the bathrooms, to have the actual port for the charging cords so that we could plug things in that didn't have the little blocks into the actual outlets or the 3 prongs. And so I intentionally stood in front of the camera as I did this because this is electrical, and I gave a whole speech during that video where I talked about making sure that you actually have the power to the outlet turned off and that outlet is grounded and there is absolutely no electricity flowing through it. Here is the actual outlet that I installed in both of the bathrooms. And it's really important to me that I not show how to do it to anybody who might be a complete novice. You need to do your research. You need to know what you're doing, or you need to hire someone who does, because I could very well have been electrocuted if I solely turned the power off to the bathroom, which is what I initially did. And I had to keep testing it to make sure that there was no power flowing through that outlet. And so once I did that, I was then able to remove the existing one. And then when I went to install the new one, I realized that it had 2 electrical lines for each thing. So 2 whites and 2 blacks and then 1 neutral. And the newer outlets don't have all of those slots. So they literally have 1 slot for white, 1 for black, and then 1 for neutral. And so you either need to piggyback the double whites and double blacks, or you need to have one that allows you to insert both of those lines for each color into the outlet. So I had to make a Lowe's run. I also had to get a cordless drill because with the power off, I obviously couldn't plug in my corded drill to do this work, and using a hand tool was just way too much work. This required a power tool. I got it out with the hand tool, but there was no way I was going to get the new one in with the hand tool. So as you see, my clothes are changed because I made that run to Lowe's. I came back and I got the new one installed. It was not simple or easy, but you may be able to see that I did piggyback those wires initially. And then I realized that it wasn't necessary and the space was just too tight for those piggybacks. So instead, I came up with another way to do it. And again, if you do your research, you'll be able to follow along and do that yourself. And so I got that in. And once I got it in position, it was important that I be able to reposition it in order to put the actual cover on, because it would go into the spot no matter what, but the cover wouldn't fit on it if it wasn't like perfectly positioned. So I had to get it perfectly positioned in order to get the cover on, and I had to basically kind of keep repositioning it in order to do that. And then once I did that, I had to test whether the power was flowing, and it wasn't, because with all of those adjustments, one of the cords kind of got knocked loose, so I had to go back and retighten that. And so it was definitely a labor to get it just so, but eventually I did get it. And this is me testing it to make sure that it was working before I screwed it back in. As you see, I have the lights on in the bathroom because this outlet has its own separate GFI, which means that the power to the outlet is not at all connected to the power in the bathroom. Those are two separate things, so I was able to turn the light back on. But I also installed new drain cover and overflow covers in the tub because I broke them a long time ago just cleaning out my tub and running a snake and all of that stuff. Didn't know how to take them off, so I broke them. And now I know how to take them off and put them back on, and thankfully they're really cheap pieces, so if I ever need to replace them again, I can. So this is me installing the hooks and rods in the master bathroom. And I did reuse one of the hand towel holders because it was just a solid silver loop style hook. And I decided to paint the decorative holder that I got from the Family Dollar to match the cabinets and the over the toilet storage cabinet. You probably saw me using my leveler and the tape trick to make sure that I installed this even and straight. And that's a great way to do it. You put the tape on the back of the item that you intend to hang and place the holes where you need to put the screws, and then you put the tape on the wall and make your holes in the wall. And then that way you know that they will be perfectly aligned with the item that you are hanging. And so I did the same thing for the pictures that I decided to hang over the tub. And I have since readjusted these pictures because I also installed a clock and I needed it to be in alignment and in the middle. And initially I hung all of these things skewed to the left because I knew that I was installing the tub storage cabinet thingy and I didn't want to be bumping into the pictures. But in order to accommodate the clock and because it just looked funny to me, I rehung all of the pictures, and exactly what I thought would happen happened. I knocked the picture that is all the way to the right off and broke it. And so now I got to get another one. And so now I'm going to hang it again, but I'm going to hang it a little more securely so that it's not so easy to knock down when I'm getting things off of the tub storage caddy. New outlet cover in the kids' bathroom wasn't large enough to cover the outlet hole, so I had to putty it before I put the outlet cover on. And this is me reusing the silver hook for the hand towels in the master bathroom. I installed an identical towel rod in the kids' bathroom, just a little smaller. And I should have used a stud finder because the right side of the rod was actually installed into the stud, and I kind of wasted time by putting a hole there and attempting to put the anchor in the wall, only to discover that I was in the stud. And to complete the installation in the kids' bathroom, I also put together a over the toilet storage cabinet, which is available in my Amazon list in the link in my bio. I'm redacting that video. If you want to see that in its entirety, you can go to either that day of the project, or you can go to the previous video where I showed all of the work that I did for the kids' bathroom all together in one video.